How you doing, guys? We're back. Another episode. Podcast.
Yes.
Yes, we're back, man.
Guys, welcome back to the third episode, I believe.
Yeah,
That's
it
right.
is the third one. Yeah, now we're moving
True,
slowly.
yeah.
100%.
How,
So,
how you guys been doing? How are you taking the new lockdown?
bro, you know what it is, man? This country, is, alongside America, I think there's just a lot of madness going on, man. But we're all in this together. We get through it. We evolve. And we keep it moving. That's it. Simple.
I hear you.
Just have to keep it moving, boy.
How,
There's a lot of restrictions, but you gotta take it with a pinch of salt. Do you know what I mean? And do what you gotta do to make it through. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So what's the topic, guys, today? We've spoken a little bit about it. I think it's going to be a really interesting topic, especially what's going on nowadays and what the way we're living. So come on, give me throw one out, throw it out there. What is it about today?
I'd say world of opportunities. Like
Cheers.
even in crises,
Okay.
there's still loads of opportunities. Like there's people in jobs that they've been in jobs for like 30 years, 20 years in solid jobs over a good period of time, and then you got entrepreneurs that are sort of making their way as well through certain avenues, especially with the internet as well. So
Okay. So opportunities is where we're thinking we're
Yeah,
looking to
man.
go.
yeah,
So what are you thinking about?
It's interesting, man. So, for our listeners out there, I'll just obviously debrief everything. So, the topic I'm assuming for today is opportunities during this crisis, right?
Mhm.
yeah.
Perfect, sweet. Okay. So yeah, again, to the listeners out there, if you guys are listening, please do subscribe, follow our page, and most importantly, if you guys do take anything away from this, the whole concept behind this is so you guys take something away and apply it, And if you guys do feel inspired, emulate us, but do it better. That being said, opportunities. So my personal perspective is, opportunities have always been available, before or prior to coronavirus. It's just a shame it takes a natural disaster, more like man-made disaster at times, or a loss or some sort of pain, for humans to see clearly or clearer. And it's an unfortunate untrained condition of the human race, where it takes a loss for us to understand and appreciate what we have or where we actually are. That being said, in regards to coronavirus, I don't believe it's created any opportunities. One thing I would say though is it's exposed a lot of flaws within the system itself. I think as soon as coronavirus hit, we found that the world stood still. Everything which had monetary value lost value, and the only thing which lost is the value which adds value to people's lives, which is everlasting and endless. So I think that's one thing we saw. So the whole system stopped. So if you ever question how can I get out of the system, you simply just stop the system. That's it. That's the one way of doing it. And one way I'd say is by adding value. Okay? Now, one thing I would say, my brother over here, Kieran, he always tells me, he's told me this some time back, he's always said, your values will lead you to success. Every time I was like, bro, I don't know if I should do this, should I do this? My brother over here was always like, your values will lead you to success. One thing I found along with time is your values not only lead you to success, they lead you to your destiny. And I think that's a win-win situation right there. So one thing I would say to the listeners out there, I know this is like a bomb blast in your ear right now, a wake-up call, but one thing I would say is do not be a consumer. Be a pioneer. Be forward-thinking, Try to remind yourself like that you have everything which you already need. You just have to have faith in your dreams and the courage to go ahead and achieve it. So I would definitely say, opportunities are always there, but it's a shame it takes things like this to happen for us to acknowledge and appreciate. But your values will lead you.
Something like that, though. It takes something serious for you to. Some people are in a daze, even though you might feel like you're conscious and you're going about your usual life, but some people are in a daze. It's like they're doing it on autopilot. Do you know what I mean? And when it comes to something happening like this, something takes over. Like it's like instinct now. How you got to react and how you got to perform now is totally different. It's all about instinct. Instinct kicks in. For some people, it will be easier than others. Do you know what I mean? Because some people, they like to have things set out a certain way, whereas other people, they'll be like, okay, this is happening now. I need to get with this traction. I need to get traction on this. And it works different for different people, innit? You know what I mean? This crisis, but there's always opportunities, man. You got to stay positive in times like this, and and make the most out of it. You get
That's what
me?
you said.
Well, I mean, again, like you're both saying, I think it's funny. It takes something like this to really understand how simple it is to lose your work, lose a job. How simple it is to not have any income.
It's mad.
How crazy, and it just shows you that loyalty to a workplace for you when working there 20 years, let's just say 20 years, 10 years, all it takes is something crazy like this to happen, and that's all gone out the window.
Exactly.
It shows you how, I suppose, how real life is, if probably the best way to say it. This showed us, I think, a lot of us, how real life can get, where one day things can just change completely. Your whole lifestyle
your whole life.
can just get
Your life flipped
spin.
turned upside down.
Yeah, you literally don't know what hit you, because don't get me wrong, there's some people that take it more serious than others. But the point is, regardless if you take it serious or not, your life is changing.
100.
Your life is changing because of this. So with that comes obviously our fears, and our fears, number one, are always going to be all right. Health is a fear, but financial is a big fear. Security.
is the-
Because like I say, you can't, if you're telling me that job that you've been working at for the last how many years is not open tomorrow, and the government aren't putting nothing in place, what are you meant to do?
For a lot of people, their initial reaction is like, shit, what do I do now? Like, where do I go from here? Do you know what I mean? But there's other people that are like, well, I'm going to just move over this side because I kind of expected this to happen over here, and I've already got this in the pipeline. Do you know what I mean?
So yeah, I mean, again, same thing. I think that, again, we should take this as a positive as well.
Of course.
A positive is to say, you know what, I need to plan my life a bit better.
Yeah.
I need to plan ahead where I'm not waiting on someone else to pay my wage.
No way, bro.
I need to be self-sufficient somehow.
Bro,
and I feel
it's perspective, my bro. It's exactly what you said. So, for example, like now, bro, if there's not a wake up call, I don't know what else you need. Like, Kieran was referring to earlier on. I think he was referring to the subconscious mind, where you're just doing daily actions, going about as a normal thing. But we live in a time now where we have technology. We have a lot of things we could use to our advantage. It's just about going about unlocking that realm of thought in your mind to achieve that. So I feel like when you're in a comfortable position, it's a dangerous place. When you're comfortable, that's when you need to worry, because you're going to remain stagnant, and your mind will remain in a stagnant state of mind many a time. It's almost like a chess game, bro, a chess piece. It's like when you're placed in a position, your next move will either determine your fall or your rise. In other words, your evolution. So it's up to you to decide what move you make. Many a time people are like, it's my fate. I couldn't achieve this. I couldn't achieve that. No, destiny is in your own hands. It's about how you do, because your decisions. It's interesting because when things go wrong, people are quick to blame, like, oh, it was God's doing. God done this for me, or my boss was like this, or like, nah, it's not none of that. It might be a factor, but ultimately it's you. You make the choice. It's not the cards you're dealt with, but it's how you deal with it. That makes the best of the situation. And I think that's very important to like recognize and be real with as well. The more real you are of yourself, the more you achieve. And that's all it is.
100%. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it's, again, like I said, self-sufficiency is the key. And like what you said at the start, people that are listening, watching this, I hope they get something out of it, because we need to get something out of it as well. Because like I said, what are we going to do tomorrow? Do you know what I mean? What are we going to do tomorrow if you got kids, if you got a family? So at the end of the day, even when stuff comes back into how it's meant to be, it shouldn't stop the way your thought process should be going, in the sense of self-sufficient. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We should still go for that, still become your own, you know what I mean, boss, whatever you want to call it, but still be destined for yourself, you know what I mean? Make them pass for yourself rather than someone else making it for you. Again, it works for some others. I mean, you spoke about people being safe. I know many people that have lived their life safe. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but at times like this, where's that safety going to get you? You know what I mean? And that's why we only get one life. You know what I mean? You have to try your best to live it properly, take risks, take not a gamble, but push your boat out there, open the box a bit.
Yeah. With the COVID situation and the furlough, I think with some people, you see, when the crisis hit, it was like, shit, we're in a crisis now. They realized like this is a crisis situation. But a benefit in that crisis situation was that they had some people had the furlough thing to go into. So while they were still getting a bit of paid, they were able to sort of take themselves into another mental space and maybe initiate some of these things and plan some of these things that we're talking about. And they may have realized some things in themselves that they didn't see before because they were in such a zone. Do you know what I mean? So in a way, it's been beneficial to have that on the back of a crisis, but you won't always have that on the back of a crisis. Do you know what I mean? If you picture like just on a random one, like a car accident or whatever, do you know what I mean? You can't plan for any sort of like crisis or whatever, or what happens after, do you know what I mean? Because it's like, I don't know, man. It's a tricky one. Like,
I get what you're saying. You know what I mean?
It's a crisis that's been beneficial because people have had time to look back on it already. It's a weird one. It's a very weird one.
It's a learning curve, isn't it?
Yeah,
if you think about it, it's a learning curve some way. It's another bit of education in our lives, how to react. Do you know what I mean?
It's a very weird one, man.
But I mean, again, COVID is COVID. I know everybody's talking about it, but what we want to talk about is what next. What's the opportunities?
Okay,
let's go into some opportunities, bro. That's what we're.
That's
here.
it, listeners. You're in the right place now.
Yeah,
for sure.
Let's talk about
so let's do this.
opportunities.
So opportunities, we all know it's there, 100%. Opportunities, you can make an opportunity of anything if you put your mind and heart to it. That's not a problem. I think what the listeners and people out there struggle with the most is definitely the voice within their own minds. I think that's what defeats them before they even start. I mean, for example, it's easy to be like, I've got this idea, and this idea. Going about achieving those, it's not a simple task. You have voices where you're like self-doubt, like, is this gonna bang? Is this gonna work? And I know, like, is this too saturated? Is the market too big for this? There's so many issues of self-doubt. But what's more harder than that is when you're putting in work every single day. You're putting in hundreds to thousands of like hours in, throughout months, through years, every day, and you've got close to nothing to show for it. I think that's when your mind overtakes you. But the funny thing about life is, and the reason I continue to bring up life, because this is a real life simulation. So the reason I say this is because it's almost as well like life is testing you. It's like you're knocking on the door and you're continuously being thrown back. Like there's more steps. You open the door, you see, right, there's a few more steps. It's almost like life's testing your determination and your persistence about how much you want this. And then eventually one day the door's like, you know what? This guy's been knocking for a long time. Open the door to him. And then boom, you're there. But before you get there, it's a question of your willpower, how much you really want this. And that's why I say primary is your values. Secondary is monetary. So for example, when your sole focus is trying to better someone's life or add value to your life, money will come chasing you, 100%, no doubt. So I think when you do what you love, money will come automatically. Because remember, when you're doing the right thing, your soul will feel right. There'll be a harmony within your mind and heart as well, and it will lead you towards a particular direction. So I think opportunities, everyone is able to make an opportunity of anything. Bro, if I wanted to, I could make I don't know what the hell this thing is, bro. I could start selling this and be like, oh, look, this glows in the dark and LED. I could do mad stuff to it, bro. Anything's an opportunity, bro. It's just you have to see it.
But what about, okay, perfect the way you said it, and it's exact. So tell me, I'm a person now who doesn't have that mindset. I'm stuck. What do I need to do to get into that focus and take that risk?
First things first, if you can't help yourself, I can't help you. So one thing I would say is, like I said, bro, we've seen this analogy many a time. When people are like, I want to go gym, but I just haven't got the time. This is that. I could tell you the best workouts. I could give you a diet plan. I could give you everything. But if you're not willing to go ahead of that, then how can I help you?
You were talking about earlier about finding yourself, innit? It's important
100%.
that people find themselves first. And
bro, I don't give it, bro, there's a lot of sacred information out there. Sounds kind of scary, I know. But bro, alchemy. Alchemy is known as purification. What is the purification of a person? It's definitely not gain. It's definitely not money. But me personally, I think it comes from loss, pain, and despair. I think it comes from these three elements. It comes from, and notice, when you give, you feel fulfillment. And when these emotions are snatched from your heart, you feel emptiness, but you find peace in a strange way. And I think it's important to notice the patterns of life and understand. But back to you specifically, if you're an individual which was in need of help, first thing I'll say to yourself is, you need to understand what you want, what you can offer to the world, and what's within your heart. Have you got demons you're fighting right now? Is the struggles you're facing? What's your thoughts saying? Close your eyes. What's the last thing you think of before you go to sleep? Study the mind. The mind, you are the key. Literally, you are the key. Like, I always say this when I try to say in a spiritual sense, no one understands. But I'll say in the laws of the universe, the law of attraction. So, bro, your mind is literally the key. What you think, you will attract. For example, if you say, I want to get a let's say like a Mercedes 250, bro. The minute you affix your mind to that, you'll start seeing many of them on the road. You'll be like, rah, I'm more accustomed to it. And it's not a trick where you're like, I want this and it'll start coming to me. No, that's not it. Law of attraction is when you think something, you only think those positive thoughts. So if you're like, if you keep telling yourself every day, I want to be at the top and I want to do this, eventually in time, people will be like, this guy's crazy. But then when they see a selfless, a sincere belief, they'll be like, this guy's crazy, but I'm liking this. I think I'm going to jump on with him. Like, and bro, that's it. So self-belief, understand yourself, know yourself, like, and study the mind. The mind is the key. That's what I'd say.
Yeah.